It does make sense. It does make sense. And you're speaking a lot to certain resilience and mindset that you have to get through tough times. And that's just beautiful to hear. I mean, you talk about Tony Robbins, and I read it pretty much everything from his mentor, who is Jim Rohn. And I know a lot of things transfer down to Tony, and that's a good stance there. And for our audience, for those who don't know what a capital call is, that's when you have to go back to your investors to raise some capital that really you weren't expecting to do in order to make the deal viable or keep the deal going. So you speak to that, Brad, and I just want to see, I know you talk about communication, reaching out to your investors, but how is it that your investors are receiving that? I mean, and how is it that, you can, in cases where those capital cannot be raised directly from the investors, if they don't have that liquidity available, what are the options there to make that deal go?
Yeah, so like I'll just give you an example. One of our deals, we have a rate cap. And for people that don't know what that is, we got a deal in 2021 with a variable rate loan, and we were able to buy, when we purchased the deal, it's basically insurance that the rate won't go up more than like so many percent. Well, the rate has gone up way more than our cap, but our cap was only 2 years. And so now our cap comes due and we have to buy another cap. Well, just like any other type of insurance, when there's a lot of claims, the insurance goes up. And so when we bought the deal, our cap was, I don't know, 100K, and now it was like 2.5 million. So, it's virtually impossible to budget for that. Like, we always raise extra money, but I don't know anybody that raises an extra 2.5 million to buy a cap that you may not even need. And it's never been needed before in history at that extreme. So like, you don't even have a rear view mirror reference point to say, oh my God, this happened back in X or Y. And so we got to be prepared for that. So, that's the reason we didn't need the capital call because of poor operations, because of poor decisions. So we were able to communicate to our investors like, look, NOI is up 46%. Like but like selling the deal or refinancing deal is not viable right now because, the debt proceeds won't be available. And so the plan is we got to get the extra funds to buy this rate cap so we could continue our business model and hold the property through this. The worst thing you can do during the downturn is sell. It's like, if you bought it here, and I don't know if this is audio or just a visual, but if you bought at 100 and you sell today, you might only get 90. But that this too shall pass, and it's going to be, you'll be able to meet and achieve your business plan. And I know because I've done it before. I bought deals in 07 and early 08 before that crash, and I held them until 14 or 15. And not only did investors get all their capital back, but they also made a profit. But if we would have had to sell, in that downturn, there would have been losses of investment. And so, again, the GP team, they need to have the wisdom, the maturity, the insight, the confidence, the business plan to communicate why we're doing a capital call, how important it is to do a capital call, the consequences of not, and I don't mean individual consequences like, obviously, if you're not required to do the capital call, and then your ownership would be diluted based on everybody else's capital contribution. But, if investors know and feel confident that you have a plan and that we're all in this together. I mean, look, 3 years ago when we were 3Xing everybody's money and we were projecting to 2X, we didn't get to keep a piece of the upside. Everybody was like, so giddy and so happy and bonus depreciation and nobody's paying tax and everybody's just loving it. And they don't say, Brad, you did such a good job. We think you should take a higher fee. We think you should get more of the upside. Thank you. No, but then when things go wrong, people forget about all the risks, about all the things in the PPM, about it was their decision to invest, and all of a sudden they just, some people, well, and some people start blaming and pointing fingers. And again, there's a difference between poor business decisions and poor execution, which obviously I believe happened in that Houston scenario, by the way. I'm not in the deal. I don't know the nuances of the deal, but from some of the things that I've heard, there were a lot of bad decisions made. But also, we all have to understand that some of these things we're all going to be impacted with: rate increases, rate caps, increases in insurance, in taxes and supplies and labor. We're all going to be hit with that.